An attempt to fight the power fails, meaning HOV will still mean 3. Denver's mayor says this city would be worse off without the people here illegally. A day without women, through the words of several. The most Colorado thing we saw will put your dog's birthday party to shame. And our favorite news segment, what do you say when you're talking about that brew pub near Union Station? Speaking of craft beer, Kyle's off enjoying some. I'm Steve State. This is Next. Before we get started here tonight, we want to let everyone know an Amber Alert is in effect. You probably got an alert on your phone a few minutes ago. Police in Wheat Ridge are looking for a woman named Norma Ortiz. Police say she took 2 kids from the Lutheran Medical Center in a 2008 white GMC Acadia. It has Colorado license plate, a specialized one for breast cancer. The license plate is 230XGF. Again, 230XGF. Keep an eye out there. Call 911 if you do see that car. Some breaking road news, not roads that are breaking, but broken roads that can be fixed. But it'll cost you. In just the last hour, state lawmakers unveiled a plan to build new roads and fix congestion. The premise of that bill will require you to vote on a sales tax increase. In November, if passed, the sales tax would go from 2.9% to 3.52%. But the bill would lower your vehicle registration fees that you pay every year to get that little sticker on your license plate. And when you add up the new sales tax and subtract those fees, the reduced ones, the state estimates $680 million in new money every year. We talked to Governor John Hickenlooper about this compromise just a little bit before it was unveiled.
I'm not concerned about any of the components of whatever this bill looks like. I will be concerned based on if certain places are, if cuts are deeper than I would consider prudent. If we're going to go to all this trouble of addressing the issue and going to the voters, we ought to be able to really address I-25 and be able to address the greater part of I-70.
We'll return to that press conference in just a moment when I ask the governor an awkward question for our What Do You Say series, because, you know, #journalism. The idea of better roads may have you excited. Don't go getting those 2-seater convertibles just yet. The legislature just killed a bill that would have dropped the HOV limit from 3 back down to 2. As we told you earlier this week on Next, the HOV is now 3, so the private company that manages the lanes can get paid. But if we go back to HOV for just 2 people, the state would have to pay the private company about $4.5 million a year to make up for the lost revenue. So our hands are tied. The private company will get paid no matter what. And that's the reason the bill died this afternoon. And that's the reason drivers with just 2 in their car hate this system. We have an important question. Is the A line working today? You know, the train to the plane. Yes, it's working. No problems today. All is well. Next viewer, Jessica Dirksen, even sent us proof that it was working. At least it was at 1:02 p.m. when she took this picture. Speaking of RTD, it has a new mascot named Jimmy. No, he's not the attractive stock photo man who we gave a shout out to a few months back. This guy's more of a cartoon. Jimmy oddly looks a lot like me or Kyle, but we'll save those comments for any other day. Jimmy is who RTD does not want you to be. Someone who leaves trash on the seat, sings loudly, sleeps on the train, shares too much information loudly. RTD has started using the hashtag #Don'tBeJimmy. So if you see a Jimmy on the train, you can let RTD know, but you can also let us know using the hashtag #HeyNext. We never know what kind of awesome content you will find and send it to us, so we'll be keeping an eye out for it. Denver Mayor Michael Hancock is offering a defense of all of Denver's citizens, including those who don't have U.S. citizenship and are in this country illegally. He sat down with Kyle Clark this week.
Last time we talked, I asked you this question, and I'm not sure that I heard a clear answer. Is it your belief that Denver would be worse off as a city without the people who are here illegally?
This city is great because of the diversity of this city and how we have been fundamentally able to be an inclusive city, welcoming city. Those things are the hallmarks and the true values of who we are. Our economic security is tied up into the productivity of everyone who lives here and works here.
Legally or illegally?
Legally or illegally. And the reality is that we have a broken immigration system. We have 11 million people here, and we must be careful how we deal with individuals under this broken system, because we're going to end up hurting them more than we do helping them, and certainly hurting ourselves more than we do helping ourselves under the system.
In a moment, we'll return to Kyle's continuing conversation with the mayor. We'll hear from him for the first time on Denver Sheriff's decision to give immigration agents only 26 minutes notice about the release of a suspected gang member who went on to allegedly commit a murder. Well, is one man's trash another man's treasure? A jury in Park County says no. You may remember Steve Bedigian. He's the man living in a hole in the ground in Park County. Bedigian has a bunch of wooden sculptures, furniture, and scrap pieces of building material on his property. He says for his ongoing art project, his neighbor wants it all gone and took Bedigian to court over it. A jury just came down with a verdict about an hour ago. They say Bedigian is guilty of keeping rubbish on his property and has 90 days to clean it up. Our lead story last night is making the phone ring in Park County. We checked in today to see if there have been any doctors interested in practicing in an empty health clinic there. Park County is about as big as Delaware, yet there is no practicing physician there. So the county is offering to give a vacant health clinic to a doctor or nurse practitioner willing to practice there. After our story last night, the county got about 20 inquiries about it today. So if you're interested, you can still inquire. All that information is in the story that's on the next Facebook page. It's International Women's Day. It's also a day without women, a protest of sorts, led by the same organization that created the Women's March on Washington. Today, the group asked women to skip work and not spend money to show how women impact all aspects of society. So today, we thought instead of your typical story about the size of protests or rallies, we'd actually talk to women about their perspectives and how different women chose different ways to think about International Women's Day.
My name is Laura Davies, and I'm here today to support women's equality and honor all those that have come before me and those that will come after me in their quest to achieve equality for all.
So my name is Sanaa Hamlin. I own Denver Cat Company, which is a cat cafe. We decided to close in honor of International Women's Day today and the strike that's happening that's called A Day Without a Woman. I just think it's an opportunity for us, all of us, to recognize the impact we have all over the world and to recognize that women are still fighting for rights that we take for granted here and that we can't take them for granted because they might be even taken away here.
My name is Kelly Maher. I am the Executive Director of Compass Colorado, a conservative 501c4 organization here in Colorado. The thing I'm doing for International Women's Day is focusing on issues that I think are really important to women. For me, that's things like allowing women to send their children to the schools that they choose and school choice. Ultimately, I think it's important that we all fight for women's rights in the way that we see fit.
It's not necessarily about being liberal or Republican or conservative. It's about coming together as a country, taking a stand on items that are important to us.
It's that weird time of year where it's nice outside, but we can't get too excited about it because it's also dangerous. Kathy Sabin is in to balance it all out for us. And it doesn't get much more Colorado than this. A dog birthday party in a brewery. Oh wait, I guess it gets even more Colorado for this couple's older dog. Next. The most Colorado thing we saw today was pointed out on Twitter. A dog's birthday, not just any dog's birthday. It was Rooney the rescue dog's first birthday. His humans, Michelle and David Samitis, hosted a birthday party for him at a brewery. The brewery is called Brews Beers. It's in unincorporated Adams County. So dogs are allowed inside. And it wasn't just any birthday. Humans were invited, of course, but so were Rooney's furry friends. 11 dogs came. There were cupcakes with tennis balls and paw prints on them. There were also party favors for the dogs, squeaky tennis balls, a birthday party for a rescue dog at a brewery. That is the most Colorado thing we saw today. By the way, that wasn't the first time Michelle and David have hosted a birthday party for their dog. They had a quinceañera for their other dog, Sydney, on her last 15th birthday last year. So there's that.
Steve, that's my favorite birthday party to attend. Squeaky toys and tennis balls and cupcakes, and why not? Thank you, Steve, to you and our producer, Carrie, for always putting these wonderful dog stories right before weather. I'm meteorologist Kathy Sabin, and I'm trying to bring you some good news. We're trying to knock down that wind a little bit. Temperatures way above average for this time of year. We're close to 70 over the next couple of days. The wind's still howling in some areas tonight. Will still be a feature for the foothills, but I think lower elevations will get a bit of a break over the next 48 hours. But today, today. A peak gust of 91 miles per hour across Berthoud Pass and winds over 40 miles per hour at DIA and Broomfield. High pressure brings a warm, sunny day to us, well, both Thursday and Friday, which is nice if you're making those weekend plans. All the cold air, the snow stays away. It's our snowiest month. We keep bragging about that with about 11 inches of snow typically, and we do not see snow in Denver's forecast in the short term. So guess just going to have to enjoy it. Fair skies and 35 tonight. Temperatures warming into the mid-60s. Wind west and over the higher terrain. Close to 70 by the time we move into Friday. A little cooler heading into the weekend with a little mountain snow on Saturday up in the northern mountains. Of course, we jump those clocks ahead 1 hour, Steve. You're going to lose an hour of sleep, and I know how much you need that beauty sleep.
That's okay. I'll deal with it. Thank you, Kathy. Okay. We're going to return to Kyle's conversation with Denver's Mayor Michael Hancock. The mayor couldn't point to a single change made at the sheriff's office in the wake of a controversy over the release of a man wanted for deportation, a man who was later charged with murder. 9 Wants to Know broke the story of Ever Valles on Next, how ICE agents asked for a heads up about his release and how the Denver jail faxed notice to ICE only moments before Valles walked out of jail. Conservative critics claim Denver is a sanctuary city, and President Trump promises a crackdown. Kyle Clark asked Mayor Hancock about the handling of the Valles case as part of our week-long series, The Mayor and the President.
Denver Sheriff's Office gave them 26 minutes notice a little bit before midnight. Was that sufficient?
You know what? We have taken a look at that system. We've sat down with ICE and kind of evaluated, analyzed it. Can we do better in terms of the amount of time they get? Absolutely. There is accountability on both sides of this. The idea is that we had to sit down with the ICE and say, what happened here? How do we improve these processes so that you get enough notice or time in your notification so you can act? But the reality is they knew where he was all along in our system. They could have issued a warrant. They didn't, which would have allowed us to detain him longer. But it's unfortunate. And my hearts and thoughts and prayers go to the Cruz family. But the reality is that we have a process we're trying to follow. Can we tighten up? We can and we will.
The Cruz family told us that they're livid with how the city handled this. Have you reached out to them?
I have not reached out to them.
Okay, is that something you anticipate doing?
You know what? Had not, quite frankly, thought about it, but because so many things are moving so quickly, we had to better understand what happened here. Before I sit down with any family, I want to know exactly what happened here.
State Senator John Cook, who used to be the Weld County Sheriff, looked at the case and said that the 26 minutes heads up appeared to be passive aggressive to him. Like these are two feuding agencies, Denver Sheriff and ICE. Have you instructed anybody in your administration to be less than fully cooperative with ICE?
Absolutely not. Let me be very clear, and I want to be very, very clear about this. We do not shield criminals. Our number one responsibility to the people of this city is, again, the safety of the people who live here. No one has ever received a direct order from me, a city attorney, to shield criminals or to be less than cooperative with ICE. We follow the law, but it doesn't mean that we harbor criminals or protect criminals in the city.
Kyle's discussion, the mayor and the president, continues this week. Tomorrow, Mayor Hancock talks about his face-to-face meeting with Education Secretary Betsy DeVos and whether the woman he met matched how she's disparagingly described on TV. And Friday, legal recreational marijuana, how the mayor came to see its benefits for Denver and the action he expects the Trump administration to take. Next, we'll meet a woman who sees the world through different eyes and uses them to capture beautiful images. I interrupt an important news conference for an important question. Will you tell us how that bar is pronounced? And it's a sign that Next will probably stay on the air. Next. Let's play our favorite game. What do you say? This time it's a street and a brewery in Denver. Starts with a W, ends with Coop. Next viewers have been asking us to clarify this one for a while, including John, Tim, Jackie, Terry, Marty, and Joseph. Governor John Hickenlooper should definitely know the answer to this question. You know, he opened that brewery. So yes, I interrupted a press conference about important things to ask him. What do you say, Governor? One quick question. Settle something for our viewers. We talked a little bit about your previous experience owning a bar. Will you tell us how that bar is pronounced? Everybody wants to know. Everyone keeps asking us that.
So when we opened the brew pub, which was the first brew pub in the Rocky Mountains in 1988, we decided to name the bar after the street on which it was located. And the man after whom that street is named was Edward Wandshear Wynkoop. But we didn't make wine. We made beer. So we wrote a formal petition to the mayor of Denver, Mayor Pena, and tried to get the name of the street changed to Beer Coop. And he refused. Therefore, we call it the Wynkoop Brewing Company on Wynkoop Street.
There you have it. That one is solved. And a lot of you wanted to know the answer to that one. If you have another town, city, county, mountain range maybe, you need help pronouncing, send it to us. We'll take care of it for you. Email next@9news.com or tweet at us with the hashtag HeyNext. For part of their lives, they couldn't see. But now the Denver community can get a glimpse of life through their eyes. Coloradans whose blindness was cured by a cornea transplant are displaying their work in a new exhibit. Next, visual producer Cody Broadway shares their story.
I had my first cornea transplants in my 20s, so back in the early 90s. I got a disease called keratoconus, and it progressed pretty rapidly.
I think most people are familiar with organ transplants. I mean, there's lots of things on TV about organ transplants. Those are the life-saving things, the heart, lung, liver, those kinds of things. People are less familiar, I think, with tissues like eye tissues. And the cornea is the clear front part of the eye. It's where your contact lens would sit. And it treats a specific kind of blindness called corneal blindness.
I had trouble, working. I couldn't drive. I couldn't really watch my kids play sports. So yeah, it was a tough 2 years. I've been interested in taking pictures almost my whole life. I started in high school, got into an art class in high school, and have been interested ever since. I like the stories behind the photos. I like to sort of document the experience, whatever that experience is.
I think these transplant recipients bring a different kind of vision to the world, in that because we take things for granted so easily, they see details that a sighted person doesn't necessarily see.
We're so caught up in our thoughts that we forget to look around us and see the beauty that's around. And I think especially now, that's even more important.
All the photographs in this exhibit were taken by someone whose corneal blindness was cured by a corneal transplant.
Whoever you are out there, I'm so deeply grateful, and I don't have the words, I guess, to express my gratitude for that gift, and I hope everybody is willing to do something like that.
The Circle of Life photo project opened yesterday at the Artwork Network Gallery in Denver. It closes March 15th. Hey, we want to update you on breaking news about that Amber Alert. Wheat Ridge police say the 2 kids who were abducted have been found. Police say the suspect, Norma Ortiz, is in custody. The children are safe. They are with the State Patrol right now, and we'll be right back. Hey, here's a sign, and it's an encouraging one that next will be on the air for a little while longer. Kyle and executive producer Linda Katsaftis were awarded Innovators of the Year through our corporate company Tegna today. A well-deserved recognition. They flew all the way to McLean, Virginia for the award ceremony. They won the award this afternoon, and we're pretty proud. So way to go, Next team members. Getting a lot of feedback tonight about why I'm wearing a tie, and that's to differentiate me from Kyle, because a lot of people say I look like Kyle. But Brent wrote in, he says, I look like Rick Astley. You know, the singer, Never Gonna Give You Up. Maybe this whole show's a Rick roll. Never gonna give you up. And we'll see you next time.